All right. Today I'm going to be talking about Gemini, right? Gemini is a sign of communication. Everybody that does astrology knows the first thing Gemini points to is communication. It is writing, it is speaking, it is speech, it is documentaries, it is documents, it is files, it is folders, it is cabinets where you keep files. That's Gemini. Your microphone that you used to speak is Gemini. Your phone you used to make call is Gemini. Gemini is a sign of journalism. You understand? Journals, the book where you write stuff, books, magazines, newspapers, the media is Gemini, right? You see? So this is also said to be the sign that points to the mind. It is ruled by Mercury, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. My blue marker is becoming faint. I've used it a lot. I kind of have a sentiment with red because I don't know. But let's keep going with the blue though. So Gemini is a sign of the mind. It's your thought process, it's your mind, it's your thinking process, it's your thoughts. Gemini rules the thoughts. It is rational thinking. Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo, right? And Virgo is analytical thinking. Gemini is rational and logical thinking. It is thinking itself, thoughts is what Gemini is, right? So now when you look at Gemini, there are a lot of things to take into consideration as regards to what Gemini points to, right? Putting Gemini in the first place, Gemini, what is one thing that is very, very common? Okay, there was a time I was talking about Gemini, right? And I talked about how Gemini being the breath, because Gemini rules the lungs. The art of breathing is Gemini. Meditation is Gemini, right? And I said that Gemini has Pisces, in the 10th place. You see, Pisces is inspiration. Pisces is religion. The 10th place points to the father. You'll find that most Gemini people have a parent or a disciplining parent or the father, in most cases, which that is a very, very religious parent. You understand? Talking about parent, Gemini has Cancer in the second house. The second house points to your your sense of materialism. You understand? It points to your sense of materialism. It points to how you spend money and all of that stuff. And Cancer being the mom or the nurturing parent, you find that most Geminis, right, took after the materialistic mindset or the habit of spending, the way that their nurturing parents spends money is how you mostly find that a Gemini. Some will tell you, but it's my dad. I'm like, I ask them, whenever my clients come for reading, I'll be like, one of your parents, you took after the spending habit of one of your parents. Some people don't even know. It is when I do give them the reading, they'll be like, okay, yes, it's my dad. Yes, you see that the way one of that parent of yours likes quality thing, the things they have preference for is spending money to buy or to own, that they value to spend money on, because the second has its values. You understand? You notice that you copied that from one of your parents. My dad, who happens to be the nurturing parent in most scenarios, though, there's a way there are certain things he likes to buy. There are certain things he likes to go for when he spends something. And whenever he sees me buy stuff, when he was alive, he comes to my room and he sees me buy stuff, and he'll be like, "Where did you buy this?" I say, "That's good." He makes those remarks to let me know that I spend like him. I use money to buy things that are of quality and of value. Like, you understand what I mean? Like him. So I wasn't even paying attention then because I didn't know astrology. So looking at it now, it makes sense. So this goes for all Gemini. It could be the mom or the dad. One of them is the nurturing parent. It's not always the dad that is the disciplining parent. In some home, the mothers are usually very, very harsh and very, very disciplinary. So people often mistake the fact that the dad can be the nurturing parent. You understand? So both, in some cases where it's like that, both sides of the chart is going to describe them. But in this case, you find that most Gemini people, have this trait, took this trait of their sense of materialism, what they like to spend money on from their nurturing parents. And these people also tend to be impulsive spenders, emotional spenders. Let me not say impulsive spenders. These people feel empathy is another thing too, especially towards family members. That is one of the things too. They feel empathy towards family members, so they are always willing to help financially within the family unit. Something you will notice our Gemini risings, people that are Gemini, you notice this thing about them. And Gemini having Sagittarius, in the 7th place. First of all, Gemini is intellectuality, while Sagittarius points to philosophy, mental expansion, and all of that stuff. So Gemini people, their love language is not necessarily, having a partner that, no, yes, they like a partner that broadens their mind, but that is not really. Gemini is more like know enough, than they are willing to teach. They are willing to want to teach you, understand? But Gemini is mostly attracted to partners or love partner. Their love language is humor. It's what Sagittarius is. Sagittarius is happiness, is laughter, is humor, is comedy. You understand? So these are people that Gemini people gravitate towards. I know this because, yes, I know because I'm a Gemini rising. I say a lot of things that can be very childish at times when I get very comfortable with you, and the person might tend to pick offense. So that's because Leo is in the 3rd house. So the tendency to speak childishly, Gemini people have it. And they need a partner that has a good sense of humor to understand that, okay, this is a joke, let it slide. Not a partner that is going to eventually read meaning into it and continue to bear grudge against that thing and going forward and all that. Another thing with Gemini risings is most Gemini risings end up in long distance relationship. I guarantee, not Gemini, just Gemini risings. Just look for Gemini risings and Gemini sun. All Gemini people, look for them. You will find that most of them have had experiences of long distance relationship. I guarantee you. Most Geminis have experiences of long distance relationship, which is what Sagittarius is in the 7th house. It's long distance. You understand? A partner living in a different state that will require, transportation. Long distance transportation is what Sagittarius is. Require long distance transportation to meet up with. If they've dated, these are the categories that this fall under. Either they've dated someone that they are not in a long distance relationship with because that person is in the same school with them. If you're a Gemini and you've dated anyone that is not in a long distance relationship, that person, you've dated that person while you people were in school, and during holidays, you people go to your various places and discover that it's still long distance. It's only when you guys come back to school that you guys are close. This is the nature of most Gemini people. You understand? And those who don't find themselves in this situation end up dating clergymen, for example. This is what Sagittarius also points to, clergymen. This is my rising sign, so I can use an hour to read this thing and I'll just keep reading. You see? So the childish speaking is not just the only thing when it comes to communication, because Leo is also the sign of fun and play. So verbally, Gemini people tend to, get carried away and just make utterances that appear to be funny. And sometimes not everybody receives the thing you take as a joke. You understand? So this is why they are more attracted. They, tend to find a venue, or I don't how do I put it, to find a way to bond with someone who has a good sense of humor. Is something that most Gemini people find, because this affects the way that they speak. And also, you remember I said the 3rd house rules the hand, and Leo being the sign of talent. I mean, if Gemini is the sign of writing, what then will you expect that Gemini will have in the 3rd place, if not the sign of talent? I don't know if you understand me. The sign of strength. So Gemini has the sign of strength and talent, which is Leo, in the 3rd house of writing. So you find that most of these people are very, very, very talented, whether mentally, verbally, either they speak very well. This is their talent. They speak very well. They think very well. Their thought process about things, is quite different. The direction is different. Or they are very good. They are skilled with their hand, which points to art. Because Gemini is a sign of joy, and Gemini has Pisces in the 10th place. Pisces is art, is design. You understand? It's art, including music too. You write music, writing, music, all that stuff. All that stuff. So Leo in the third house points to an artistic hand, a talented hand, or a talented mind, or a talented mouth. Talented that is talented when it comes to making utterances. These people that can speak very well and like sway situations to their own advantage. Because if you consider that, what is it called? Leo is also the sign of autonomy, or charisma, or pride. You find some Gemini people speak with a very prideful tone. Yes, you find that. So I did not say all. Some Gemini people speak with very prideful tones. Yes, and this also, Leo is the sign of the child. So having it in the third place for Gemini is having the sensitivity of a child. I don't know if you understand me. Yes, having the sensitivity of a child. Gemini people are one of those people in the zodiac that when you speak to them, they pay attention more to the tone of what you're saying than what you actually said. They are very sensitive. These people are very sensitive to too, because they have that child, the sign of the child, the innocence, of the child. Like when a child is crying, a child is like lying down and the mom is screaming and yelling or calling on another sibling. So that screaming kind of makes the child panic and start crying. The sensitivity to the tone of that yelling is what makes the child cry. This is the same way with Gemini people. They are sensitive to tone. You understand? So how you speak to a Gemini is very important. The tone in which you speak to them is more important than what you are saying to them. That is what they actually listen to. So these people have Virgo. They have Virgo in the fourth house. The fourth house describes your mom, right? The fourth house describes your mom. And Virgo in the fourth house, Virgo is hygiene, it's neatness. Most Virgos have that one parent. In most cases, it's the mom, but not every time. Like I said before. So the nurturing parent, which could be the dad. Virgos have that one parent that is very neat, does not like to see dirt in the home. Once that person is home, the home must be clean before they even settle down to take their bath or want to eat. Anything that is unkept must be tidied up. You understand what I'm saying? Most Virgos are like that. Most Gemini experience that particular thing when it comes to the home. This also describes most Gemini living conditions. They love their immediate environments to be very, very clean and tidied up. You understand? So, but in the most cases, is where they experience having a parent, one of the parents, that is very, very neat. You understand? That is very keen on hygiene. Most Virgos will tell you this is their experience. You see, and then having Libra in the fifth, this is the strength of Gemini. Gemini people, their natural strength is, a keen sense of equity and balance and justice and fairness. You understand? These are people that can easily spot situations where things are not going the way it should be. You understand? If something is going to the favor of one side and the other side is not really getting justice for or being treated fairly, these people can easily spot that stuff. You understand me? These people can easily spot that stuff. Another thing that people do not know is when the sign of speaking has the sign of relationship in its fifth place of natural strength. You understand me? When it comes to if you ask me, I would really say that the art of speaking is actually Gemini, even in the romantic, because Leo is the sign of romance and Gemini have it in the third house. So to speak romantically, to sway someone, you understand, with romantic tones, these things Gemini know how to do this. More like you say seduction, but it's not seduction. If you understand me, and having Libra in the fifth place, so this is their natural state and their talent. They thrive because of the way they speak. They are able to, in most cases, not all Geminis, these people are most likely going to keep partners. It's one of their strengths, their talents, you understand, to stay in a relationship long term. Is what most Geminis are very capable of because they know how to speak. They know what to tell their partner to keep their partner where they want their partner to be emotionally. You understand? So this is their natural strength, Libra. You understand? So it plays out in so many ways, but let me just leave that. And then Scorpio, this is one thing that most Geminis are going to have issues with. Having Scorpio in the sixth place of hygiene, right? Scorpio in the sixth place of hygiene, most Geminis are really going to have, issues with their health condition, overall health condition in various cases, depending on, where your Mars or Pluto is in the chart. If you have Scorpio in the sixth house as a Gemini, as a Gemini rising, right? is mostly going to be a life-threatening health condition for most Geminis. But also the sixth place points to work, services. So when it comes to Geminis love to work in a space where they are able to adapt. This is what the sign of Scorpio is. Scorpio is adaptation. So Gemini people, love to work in spaces where they've seen that, okay, if I stay here for a good amount of time, I'll be able, despite the situation looking like it's difficult, if I stay here for an amount of time, you understand, I can adapt to it. So, and another thing is they have the ability, you understand, to adapt to any work condition that they find themselves in. You understand me? If you see a Gemini not taking up any work, because they've seen that no, it does not allow them to adapt to the work environment. That's one major thing you find with Geminis, with having Scorpio in the sixth house, right? And in the eighth house here they have Capricorn. In the eighth house they have Capricorn. Capricorn is a sign of old age. The eighth house is death. And one major thing that people need to understand, Geminis are one of those that live very long. You understand what I'm saying? Geminis are one of those that live long. It takes till old age for them to die. Anything that most likely takes out a Gemini, if it's not maybe a violent death by gunshot, if they just live and they are ill, they are mostly going to die of illnesses that comes with old age. They mostly go out through old age. These are not people that die just like that. You understand what I'm saying? These are not people, they die with old age. This is the sign of time and old age, Capricorn being in the eighth house. You understand? But also in the terms of sexuality, Capricorn is a sign of maturity. You understand? It's a sign of authority. These people love to be in charge in the bedroom. Yes. Gemini people love to be in a position of authority, in a position of control in the bedroom. You understand my point? Not all, I didn't say all, I say most Geminis love to be in that position. You understand? They love to be in control in the bedroom. And hardship to most Gemini is seen as a catalyst of transformation. This is why I don't behave like that because of this. I just figured out life. When it begins to get tough, is because there's transformation going on. I don't know, maybe because of this though. So this is how I see it. There was a time I often teach that on Facebook where I say difficulty phase that you're going through is a rite of passage. You need to go through it. You need to stop complaining. You understand me? You need to stop complaining. If you're going through hardship, it's a rite of passage. You need to go through that phase and learn the lessons so that you can come out. Harsh lessons, difficulties, Gemini see that as a transition phase. Is that not what a rite of passage is? You understand what I'm saying? Is that not what a rite of passage is? This is what Gemini people see that as. Before I got into astrology, I already had this mindset. I used to talk about it long before I even stumbled upon astrology. I used to tell people on my Facebook, don't think your suffering is because the word is wicked to. It's a rite of passage. Could be a karma, you paying for a karma you're going to. So you have to go through. It's like a blade, a swordsmith working on a blade. It has to beat out all of the impurities. I made all of these references when I was talking about hardship being a rite of passage. People don't understand. You don't need to complain. Go through it. You're supposed to go through it. I don't know, but this is the mentality that I have. So I think this is what actually, because in my case I have a stellium. I'm not going to tell you how many planets I have. But I have a stellium in Capricorn. So a huge part of my life is centered around that place. I don't see difficulty as something that is supposed to that is there to break you. No. It's a rite of passage. You need to do it because this is Capricorn in the eighth place of transformation. When hardship is in the eighth place of transformation, what does that mean? That's telling you, even you look at Gemini as a part of the mind, if your mind wants to transform, hardship is one factor that you cannot avoid. Difficulty is one major thing that you cannot avoid. You will go through it. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to go through it. So having Aquarius in the ninth place for Gemini, Aquarius is a sign of friendship. And the ninth place talks about things that you overindulge in. Gemini people are very friendly. Things that you go overboard in doing. Very friendly. Very friendly set of people. Very friendly set of people. You understand? Not all. Not all, but very, very friendly set of people, and knowledge, when they have the sign of knowledge in the ninth house of where you go overboard with things, now you understand why Gemini is the sign of the mind. Because having the sign of knowledge in the ninth, this is where Gemini go overboard. Knowing. There's no limit, there's no bound to Gemini when it comes to acquiring knowledge. You just know. You just keep going. It's just because the ninth house is the place where you go, when you indulge in things, you just go out of proportion, you go out of range. You just keep going, you don't stop. You understand? This is the place where your energy blows out of proportion. This is the ninth place. Having the sign of knowledge is here. Gemini is just keep going. They keep knowing, they keep reading, they keep knowing, they keep reading, they keep knowing, they keep reading. It just goes like that. You understand? So this is how these people express that part of themselves. Even adventure, their sense of adventure. If I go here, I want to learn something. I don't know if you understand me. Same way as they have Sagittarius, the sign of travel in the seventh place. These people love foreign culture. You understand me? I mean, what if you think of Gemini as the sign of linguistics, and it has Sagittarius in the seventh house of human interaction? Do you know what that means? Means that these people want to learn foreign language so that they can interact. Gemini is the sign of linguistics. And it has the sign of relocation and foreign culture in the seventh place of human interaction. This is how these people are. This is the sign of language. Learning other people's language, foreign cultures. Something that these people look up to whenever they're in a state of adventure, and also knowing to also expand their knowledge. You understand me? To expand their knowledge. So I talked about Pisces in the 10th place, which is the highest point of mind is spirit. Let me just leave the meditation aspect of it. The highest point of mind is spirit. You understand? There is nothing again above spirit. There's nothing above spirit. Mind, spirit. Spirit sits on top of mind. You understand me? But like I said, all science points to different faculties of mind. So when the ancients said that the all is mind, the psychic aspect of the mind. So the highest point of conscious thought, which is what Gemini is conscious thought. The highest point of conscious thought is subconscious thought or unconscious thought. Because Pisces is known as the subconscious. It's also known as the unconscious. You understand what I'm saying? So it's looking at it, it's also the sign of the heaven realm, like the ocean. This is why they tell you that heaven is not in the sky, it's in the ocean. Pisces, if you understand cosmic law, all this agenda they are agending about where heaven is or the origin of mankind, it will not confuse you. It's right there in the cosmic law in astrology. If you know how to look for it, you get it there. If you learn this stuff, now a lot of things are not going to move you. You just discover that a lot of things are just noise. You understand? Basically just, using this stuff, expressing this stuff on a lower level, but it's really not something to get distracted about. You understand? So the highest point of the mind is the subconscious mind. You understand my point? This is what this stuff means. The highest point of the mind is the subconscious or the unconscious mind. This is where the soul sits. The unconscious. That is Pisces. So, but like I was saying, most of these people you discover that they have a parent that is very, very religious or very spiritual. The disciplined parents, precisely. Could be the dad who happens to be a member in a church, who happens to be a church, a pastor in church, a bishop, something like that. You find most Gemini people, have that disciplined parents that is very, very so, into religion or spirituality. These are the two things that you'll find. You understand me? Yes. And most Gemini, they just strive to get to this point in their life. You understand? They strive to get to this point in their life. So, like I said, above mind is spirit, but spirit is still a different kind of mind, just that the way it operates is different. So we will normally classify mind as the thinking mind. No. There's a thinking mind, there's a knowing mind. This is what people don't know. There's a thinking mind. This mind needs to think things too. There's a mind that just knows everything. It is just there. It's in the hidden. This is what Pisces is. Pisces is the hidden. You understand me? So when you pursue intellect so much, you reach the highest point of intellect. Your mind reaches a place where it knows no bound. All ranges, all forms are dissolved. And you see everything in their limitlessness. in their limitlessness. You understand what I'm saying? You see everything in their limitlessness. So this is just what the mind is. The highest point of the mind is to have no boundaries. Is to stretch far and beyond. No boundaries. It just considers everything. That's spirit. Spirit is endless. It is boundless. It is formless. This is what Pisces is. Pisces is spirit. Yes. Spirit can be here and be in another location at the same time. It is endless. It is boundless. It is formless. So this is what it is, right? So when you meditate, breath is spirit. You can't see breath, and if you exhale, you don't know where your breath stretches to. That is formlessness. You understand what I'm saying? And the highest point of the mind is understanding. Pisces is the sign of understanding. You understand what I'm saying? It's the highest point. People say overstand, understand. The highest point of the mind's evolution is to understand. This is cosmic law. So, having Aries in the 8th house, these people often feel very lonely. It's another thing. A lot of Geminis, yes, very friendly, but because of the exposure that the Gemini has, sometimes they feel like their cycle of friends are not up to the intellectual. You understand what I mean? Yeah, are not up to where they are intellectually. So when they are mostly with their friends, they just keep quiet. They feel alone sometimes when they are with their friend. Sometimes they can be with their friend and they just excuse themselves like, I want to go out. Mom can just stroll reach up. They just want to be alone. They can be with their friends and boom, they become very absent-minded. They just like they are not there. You understand? They can be like, a Gemini can be like in a round table and just decide that let him just go somewhere and just think something too. He'll just take himself out and go somewhere and chill. This is the nature of how Geminis are when it comes to friendship. You understand me? And these people can be very impulsive around their friends. Trust me, look for a Gemini. Most Geminis are usually minding their business, but once their friends come into the equation, they want to let their friends know that I'm the tiger in this circle. You understand? A Gemini is with a friend of his, and like you guys cross paths, and there's like an exchange of word. They are likely going to pick a fight first before even their friend. You understand what I'm saying? Most Geminis are like that. I know what I'm telling you people. I'm a Gemini. I'm a Gemini rising, right? And having Taurus, right? Having Taurus in the 12th house. The undoing of a Gemini is a lack of morals. Yes, the undoing of Gemini is lack of morals. You see, it's lack of morals. It's where these people feel that. And issues with their truth. Because the 12th house, I have not mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it here. The 12th house points to the things that mostly put you on medication. You understand? Put you on drugs is what I mean by medication. Medicines, all put you on medication. And Taurus rules the truth. You'll find most Geminis are mostly clearing up their truths. Most of the time, they have issues. Cough, something that has to do with the truth. Most times they have to clear their voice if they speak. They can't speak for long without clearing their voice. I have that same issue too. Because Taurus is in the 12th place. And some have the habit of eating at night. These people can wake up. You understand? These people can wake up. Right? These people can wake up at night and just want to urinate. And you just occur to them and there's something is still in the pot that they didn't finish. You'll just go and start eating. They go and start eating. And some of them have the habit of, stepping out at night to spend money. So night spenders, people that go to drink and all that. So these are people that love those kind of activities too. You understand? So their lack of, these people are also people that hide money. Not all, some. You understand, have the tendency to hide money. You understand, like, okay, yes, there's money in the bank, but there's always money that this offline money is offline. The money is offline. they just hide it somewhere. It could be in their closet or something. But yeah, some Geminis have their habit of not always having all their money in the bank. There is always money they keep somewhere. You know where they say saving box kind of stuff. Yes. Or Taurus is the sign of your savings. So hiding, it's not just a savings that everybody know, they hide it. You know. So yes. And these are people that often forget money too. You know, some of those people where you pick their clothes, like you want to wash for them and you find money in their pockets. Gemini people. Yeah, they are like that. So yeah, this is Gemini, right? I said it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury also rules Virgo. Okay, so the two points to the mind that is most active, is most functioning self. The two makes a Mercury. Gemini and Virgo makes a Mercury, right? So yeah, this is Gemini. So last on our list is Cancer, and then this series will be done, right? Peace, guys.